Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. Welcome if this is your first time here. So I'm going to be doing a requested video about astral projection and my experiences on the astral plane. I wrote a thread on Twitter about this crazy experience that I had when I astral projected, and people were really interested in me going more in depth. So I'll leave the link to the thread in the description box in case you want to read it on Twitter. But I'll be going over everything I said in the thread in this video anyway, so you really don't have to read it. But just in case you want to, the link will be down there. And I also will be talking about remote viewing, which is, figure out the best way to describe what remote viewing is. I guess I can give you the literal definition. The definition of remote viewing is the practice of seeking impressions about a distant or unseen target using extrasensory perception. So basically, you're able to see someone without them being in the room, without them being anywhere near you. You're able to see what they're doing. And like I said, on Twitter, I tweeted about how I remote viewed Meg Thee Stallion in one of her studio sessions, which I'm not going to share what I saw because obviously that would be wrong. You know, privacy is a thing. So I'm not going to share exactly what I saw, but I'll tell you about my remote viewing experiences as well. So let's dive first into the astral projection part of this video. So astral projection is basically an outer body experience. It's like when you go to sleep and your soul leaves your body, or some people call it your astral body leaving your physical body, and you're now able to wander on the astral plane. Okay. And I don't do this purposely. I don't even know like the inner workings of astral projection. Like I can't really go too much in depth because I don't study it, but it's just something that I have experienced numerous times to the point where I'm able to give you some sort of insight on it. But yeah, it's like having an outer body experience. So I don't do this intentionally or purposely. It happens when I go to sleep laying on my back, because when I lay on my back and go to sleep, I fall into sleep paralysis. And I'm sure all of you may have experienced sleep paralysis. It's like when your body can't move, your mind is awake, but your body is asleep. So you're awake, but your body can't move at all. It's very, very terrifying. But yeah, when I have sleep paralysis, that's when I will accidentally astral project. The first time that it happened, I remember I had sleep paralysis, and then it felt like a vacuum sort of pulling me out of my body, if that makes sense. And I remember the first time that it happened, I thought that I had waken up. Like I thought that I was awake. I didn't realize that I had astral projected because I was standing in my room, and I'm like, okay, I go to my light and I try to turn the light switch on, and my hand goes through the light. So I'm like, okay, well, what the hell is going on? I turn around and I see my body laying on the bed, and it was terrifying. So yeah, I jumped right back on into my body. And for those of you who have astral projected, please let me know if when you return to your body, it gives you a terrible headache, because whenever I astral project and I re-enter my body, it feels like the worst migraine of your life. It feels like something heavy is just pressing on your head when you jump back into your body. It's just the pain. But yeah, to me, astral projection is not something I play around with, because I've heard horror stories about it, about what can take place on the astral plane if you're not careful, if you don't have like some sort of teacher or guide that helps you to maneuver on the astral plane in a safe manner, that it can get real crazy. So I don't do it, and I don't recommend people do it. You know, I don't do it purposely. Like I said, every time I jump back into my body. So that happened to me a couple more times. I would astral project, I would see my body, I would try to turn my light on and it wouldn't work. I would jump back in. Okay. So there was this one time that I actually did not enter my body again immediately because I felt safe enough to explore. Now, this happened sometime last year, and I remember I fell asleep and I astral projected, and I realized what was going on. I started hearing these very, very, very loud voices on the astral plane. Like I was standing next to my body, standing next to my bed, my body's on the bed, and I started hearing these very, very, very loud voices, kind of like, they sounded like they were like screaming or like hissing at me. Like I couldn't really pinpoint what they were saying, but it was very menacing. And I was hearing those voices while I was awake. It was like my clairaudience was starting to awake. They weren't like clear voices in my head where I needed to go get checked out. You know, I know the difference. They were like my clairaudience trying to come through, but I kept shutting it down because I have no interest in being clairaudient. I have no interest in being clairvoyant. I don't want to see spirits. I don't want to hear them. So I shut anytime those powers or those gifts try to surface, I shut them right down. Like I like being clairsentient and claircognizant, where I can feel certain things and I have intuitive knowing, but I don't want to see any ghosts. I don't want to hear them. Like I'm not, no, absolutely not. So like I said, the clairaudience was trying to come through for a couple days before that, but I was shutting it down. So when I astral projected, I guess that was the perfect opportunity for those entities or whatever to try to talk to me using clairaudience, because now I was out of my body, so I couldn't really shut it down. Okay, 1 second. If you keep hearing me pause, I'm just taking a water break. But yeah, like I was saying, they started being very loud. I couldn't see where they were coming from though. It was very dark. The astral plane is quite dark. Well, my experience on the astral plane, please comment down below if yours was different. But my experience on the astral plane is that it's very dark. I can't see anything. Well, you can see, but it's like, it seems like the light is dim. If you've ever seen the show Ravenswood, when the girl dies and she's like wandering around in purgatory or like on the astral plane, that's what it looks like when you astral project. Well, when I astral project anyway. So like I said, the voices were really loud, and I remember I said a prayer for them to go away, and this white light like appeared right next to me, and it was kind of like it looked like a shield of light, and it kept expanding and expanding and expanding until the voices faded out and I couldn't hear them anymore. So I'm like, okay, maybe this is safe. Like I started to feel extremely safe because that white light was right there. I'm like, okay, maybe this is safe. Maybe I can go and explore. Now at this time, I had just gotten together with my boyfriend. Like we were like a new couple, me and my twin flame. So I'm like, I want to go visit him, because he had visited me already. That's a whole nother story, but his astral body, he had astral projected, and his astral body visited me and woke me up out of my sleep, like kissing me on my face. So I'm like, I want to go visit him. So I'm like, I'm going to go. I walk out of my door without opening it. I like drift through the door and I start to walk, right? And as I'm walking, it's like this long hallway, and a door flies open, and I see a woman inside of the room, and she's like, Niqua, that's my name, Niqua. Well, it's Shaniqua. People call me Niqua. She was like, Niqua, come in here. And the woman looked exactly like my mother, like exactly like her, but the energy was different, completely different. I mean, if you watch my main channel, me and my mother, we have a strained relationship. I don't really speak to her at all like that. So this was very bizarre to me because she looked just like her, but her energy was so pure and kind and loving. It was really, really strange. So she's like, come here. I thought it was a trick. I'm like, oh, hell no. So I'm like hesitating, but I'm walking into the room, and she's like, come here, come sit with me, come cuddle with me. Now, y'all, when I tell y'all that my mother is not an affectionate, cuddling, the thought of cuddling my mother or hugging her right now, like as I'm making this video, is making me cringe. So the fact that this person on the astral plane was saying like, come cuddle and all that, it was so bizarre. Hold on 1 second. Oh my God. I feel like I have to sneeze, but it's not coming out. Sorry. Anyway. But yeah, so it was very bizarre, but I kind of, I was trusting the energy because the energy felt very warm and loving. So I went to her, we sat on the couch, and she was like cuddling with me. She's like, I'm so happy to see you. I love you so much. Like, it was a very like nurturing motherly energy. I've never experienced that with my mother before, ever, not once. So it was very bizarre to me. And I'm like, wow, so this is how it feels to have a mother. Like, this is great. So she started like telling me things about my life outside of the astral plane, like when I wake up, certain things that I need to do. So she was like, yeah, your physical health, you have to get that in order. Your kidneys, I see like your kidneys are not functioning well. Like the last thing you want is for you to have kidney disease or kidney failure, and that's what's going to happen if you don't start focusing specifically on taking care of your kidneys and all this stuff. Now, mind you, because I have a chronic illness, I take medication that does affect my kidneys. So yeah, what she was saying wasn't so far-fetched to me. I think what was so crazy about it was that she mentioned that my left fingernail, like my left index finger, the fingernail, she said that it's gonna break. She said your left fingernail is gonna break, and that's how you're gonna know that I'm telling the truth about your kidneys. And the next day when I woke up, throughout the day, I remember I broke that exact fingernail throughout the day. It was so wild. But anyway, so yeah, we were cuddling, whatever else, and then I was like, okay, well, I want to go and keep exploring, you know, like I'm trying to go find my boyfriend. And she's like, okay, so we're hugging and stuff like that. It was very sad to like walk away from her. Like I wanted to stay there, but I'm like, I want to keep on wandering, you know. So I keep wandering down this. It was a long hallway, and I have two cousins, and they were on the astral plane there. Like they ran past me like at light speed. And I was like, wait, what the hell's going on? So I run after them to see where they're going. I really wasn't expecting to see them on the astral plane at all. So they run past me, I run after them, and we go into this bathroom, and they have like this bowl, and they have a fish in the bowl. So I'm like, what are y'all doing? And they're like, we're trying to save this fish. Like, it was so strange. They're like, we're trying to save this fish. The fish needs like fresh water, something like that. And I didn't think much of that experience, except a couple months later, this same cousin got a fish, and the fish died because he used the wrong type of water or something like that. He put some water something where the fish died, and he was like devastated about it. And I'm like, wow, this is so strange. That's exactly what happened on the astral plane. Like you were trying to save a fish because you said it needs, anyway, it was so weird. And it was out of character too, because these two cousins usually don't care that much about animals. It was weird. Anyway, so that happened. I was like, okay, this is weird. So I'm wandering again. And then there's another room, a door opens, and it's my sister. Now, everyone knows that me and my sister are extremely, extremely close. Like, we have such a close relationship. Like, we're like best friends. I swear to you. Like, I'll get her on camera one of these days. We'll film a video together. But me and my sister are best friends, right? And she was there, but her energy was so different on the astral plane. She just didn't want to be bothered. And I was like, oh, this is so strange. Like, it was just different, put it that way. So I was like, talking to her, and she was like, sorry, I can't help you. And she kind of just turned away, and I was like, what? And it's so strange because like months later, I was going through a very hectic experience, and obviously she was there for me. She's always there for me through any type of traumatic experience, hectic experience. She's always there, right? But this experience that I had particularly, I had to pull myself out of. Like, there was no one else that could help me. And so for the first time, it was kind of like, she was like, I don't know how to help you. And it reminded me of when I was on the astral plane, and she was kind of like, I can't help you. It was so bizarre, y'all. I'm telling you. Everything that happened on the astral plane started to play out in real life, except the stuff with my mother. Anyway, that's a whole nother story. Anyway, so I'm still wandering. Mind you, I still have not met my boyfriend, okay? I still have not run into him on the astral plane. I'm trying to find him. So then I come across this, it was this room, it was like this big opening. It looked kind of like a train station. You know how like at a train station there's like the booth where you buy the tickets. It's like a really open space, and there's the booth where you buy the tickets, and it's like a glass separating you from the person who you buy the tickets from behind the counter, like that. And there was a white girl there. She was white. She had blonde hair. She looked very distressed, and I'm just kind of like, who is this girl? Because I'm like, I recognize everyone else. My family's on the astral plane. Who is this girl? So then I hear intuitively, the same way that I hear intuitive messages for tarot, I heard it like this on the astral plane. I'm guessing that on the astral plane you can, it's telepathy. You use telepathy to communicate. So I heard intuitively, that's you. That girl is you. And I'm like, no, it isn't, because I'm me. So how can this girl be me? Y'all, please don't ask me how this can make any logical sense. I myself still have no clue what the hell this even, I have no clue. But the girl, so I'm hearing intuitively, this girl is you, but she's you from a past life. And I'm like, but how is that possible? Because if it's me from a past life, that would mean that my soul is in my current body. I have a body right now. So my soul's in my current body. How is her soul here from a past life? It was very confusing to me. The only thing I can think of logically, which there's probably no logical explanation. I mean, this is the spiritual occurrence. But the only thing I can think of logically is that when you go through some sort of trauma, a piece of your soul fragments, breaks off, and gets suspended in time. And so I'm like, is this a soul fragment of myself from a past life that I'm seeing? Because this girl was clearly very traumatized. She was a drug addict. Let's start there. And she specifically, her drug of choice was cocaine. And she had an addiction when she was alive, and when she died, she still had that addiction in the afterlife. And so she was searching for drugs on the astral plane. and she was extremely distressed. It was terrible. So then this guy showed up, and the guy, his energy was very intimidating. Like, he had the energy of like a pimp, like someone who like pimps women. I really don't know how else to explain it, but that, like, it was just very like this intimidating, like, I really don't know how to explain it. What was coming to me intuitively was pimp. He's a pimp. I don't know why, but it was coming to me intuitively that he's a pimp. That's the energy that I was getting from him. So he gave her drugs, and he told me to leave her alone. He's like, leave her alone. And he gave her drugs, and he gave her cocaine, but it was in liquid form. I don't know if this exists outside of the astral plane, but he gave her cocaine in liquid form. And she was pouring it into her hands and like sniffing it up her nose, and it was just like dripping from her nose. Like, it looked like milk. And it was just so bizarre. But she was in like, she was so distressed. It was terrible. It was terrible. And so I did not get to find my boyfriend on the astral plane, because I ended up going back into my body, but it wasn't voluntarily. Like, something happened where I just remember feeling like that vacuum feeling again, and then I was sucked back into my body, and I was like, what the hell? When I woke up, my head was just, it was pounding. But yeah, I never got to see my boyfriend. But he did visit me. His astral body visited me. I was sleeping, like I said, and I felt someone kiss me on my forehead, and I was like, what the hell? And I opened my eyes, and he was like just right next to me, like kneeling near my bed. And I was like, what the fuck? Because this is long distance, mind you. We were not even in the same state, nowhere near each other. And his astral body was like see-through. So it was him, but he was see-through. And his smile was really exaggerated. Like, it was like stretched across his face. And it's funny because there's a YouTuber, a tarot reader named The Quietest Revolution. Well, her real name is Amber, but her name on YouTube is Quietest Revolution. And I remember she did a video once where she was talking about how her astral body visited her boyfriend, and that her astral body, like, that her hair is really, really long, like it touches the floor. And it's like, so in my mind, I'm like, wait a minute, it makes sense that on the astral plane, maybe our features are exaggerated, because her hair was exaggerated. She already has amazing, thick, luscious hair, and it was exaggerated on the astral plane. My boyfriend, he has a really big, like, smile, like a really big, bright smile, and it was exaggerated on the astral plane. So I'm like, weird. I wonder, like, what will be exaggerated on the astral plane with me? Probably my eyes, because they're already kind of big, or maybe my lips. I don't know. But yeah, his smile was like stretched all the way across his face, like the Cheshire Cat from Alice in Wonderland. And he wouldn't talk to me, but he just kept kissing me on my face. And I'm like, what are you doing? And like, I'm laughing, but I'm confused, because he just keeps kissing me and smiling, and then he just disappears. And it's just, it's so bizarre, because he's like that. Like, when I moved down south, and we're together face to face now, our relationship was face to face, he likes to like kiss me on my face, kiss me on my cheeks, like he likes to kiss me all over my face. So that's the same thing he was doing, his astral body was doing. It was so crazy. So yeah, that was my astral projection experience. I don't plan on doing it again. The astral plane, like I said, is very complex. I know that one time I was on the astral plane, but like, it wasn't on purpose. But there was someone who follows me on Twitter, or used to follow me before I blocked the hell out of him. He used to follow me on Twitter, and he tried to like make a pass at me, like a sexual pass, like on the astral plane. And I thought I was dreaming, but then later on he mentioned it without me mentioning it to him. So basically, he was trying to do something sexual with me on the astral plane, obviously against my consent. And he alluded to the fact that he knew he had done it on the astral plane, so he did it purposely. And this person is very much into spirituality and things of that sort. So I was just like, are you out of your mind? Like, it's so, like, I wish I could describe, or I wish y'all could have been there to see how he brought it up. It's almost like he thought I was going to be impressed by it. And I'm just kind of like, no, that's actually really creepy. And so then I blocked him. So yeah, people, just being on the astral plane and astral plane experiences and stuff like that, it's just very complex. It can be very scary. So I don't do it purposely. That was my one-time experience wandering the astral plane. I probably won't be doing it again. I don't know if this would count as an astral plane experience, but I was visited by Jesus Christ once. I know, hard to believe. I rarely tell this story to anyone, but I felt the need to plug it in here while I'm talking about spiritual experience and astral projection. I don't think I was astral projecting. I was actually awake, but I was visited by Jesus Christ. He showed up as a light, like a very bright light standing next to me. And I heard intuitively and telepathically, you're in the presence of Jesus Christ. And this, okay. every time I try to describe this, my eyes literally start tearing up. The whole room filled with this blissful, peaceful. I've never experienced that level of peace before, like in life. And it only lasted a few seconds, and then the light disappeared, and then it was done. It was over. I can't even talk about it without like almost crying, I swear, because it was such a crazy experience. And the closest thing I've ever had to that, I would say, is when I was doing a tarot reading for a close friend of mine, and his grandmother that passed away actually came to assist me with the tarot reading. Now, this never happened. I don't deal with people who have passed on. I'm not a medium. I don't talk to the dead. None of that. I don't talk to random entities at all. When I do tarot readings, I am channeling like my higher self. When I say I have my guides, I'm talking about my higher self. Archangel Michael sometimes comes in to protect the reading, the Holy Spirit. I don't just talk to random guides or random entities on the plane. I don't do that. I'm very cautious when it comes to this sort of thing. My ancestors sometimes will help me out and stuff like that, but I don't just talk to random entities and random people's dead relatives. I don't do that. I don't play around with that. But yeah, this is the one and only time that she came to assist me. She came to assist me in this tarot reading to give him guidance that he needed. And I was describing her energy, and he was like, that's her. That's definitely her. That's my grandmother. And she had such a peaceful, like blissful feeling. It was like a blanket over the whole room. It was amazing. And if I feel like that was only permitted to happen because I set very clear boundaries when it comes to my tarot readings, that only high vibrational entities can assist me with my readings. Like low vibrational entities of confusion, death, disaster, fear, they can't come into my readings and assist me or tell me any false info at all. I set very clear boundaries. So I think that's the only reason why she was permitted into the reading. Her vibration was so high. Like she's clearly ascended to a very high, so some sort of very high plane. The feeling was so peaceful and blissful. Obviously he got a lot of comfort from it. It was amazing. It was amazing. But yeah, those are my experiences. I guess we should move on now into remote viewing. Now, remote viewing, I may have to do a whole separate video on this because this is something that I actually do want to research. Okay, so like I said before, the definition of remote viewing is the practice of seeking impressions about a distant or unseen target using extrasensory perception. Now, with my remote viewing experiences, I basically see in my mind the person. It's kind of like a movie that's playing out in your head, except it's not in your head because you can sort of see it very clearly. It's hard to explain. It's not like, you know how you can play a memory in your head and you can see it so vividly in your mind. Remote viewing, it's almost like you see it even more vividly. It's a distinction between remote viewing and just having a memory or having a daydream. Like you can tell the difference. If any of you have experienced remote viewing, please comment below. See if you can explain it better than I can, because it's very complicated for me to explain. But remote viewing happens spontaneously as well. I don't try to do it on purpose at all. I have read that every human being has the ability to remote view to some extent, but human beings who are more sensitive souls, they are more likely to be able to tap into those gifts. So that's why I always tell people, you know, being sensitive sometimes on this earthly plane, it could feel like a curse, okay? Because there's so many traumatizing and triggering things on this plane that, yeah, being sensitive seems like, okay, this is a nightmare. I wish I didn't feel anything, you know, but when you're sensitive on this plane, you have access to certain gifts and talents that you would not have if you were not sensitive. So that's why I say it's a superpower if you use it the right way. So I have remote viewed Meg Thee Stallion. She was in the studio. I'm not going to tell you what she was doing in the studio, but I saw her very, very clearly, okay? And I don't think anything triggered that. I was just watching a video of hers, and I guess I was so connected to her energy that it triggered a remote viewing sort of thing. And this was also around the time that her mother passed away, unfortunately. And I think that's what also, it helped me to connect to her emotionally, because I felt a lot of sympathy and pity for her. And I was watching one of her videos, and I guess that's kind of like that emotional feeling mixed with me watching her video may have triggered the remote viewing. That's the best way I can describe it. Another time that I remote viewed, wait, I'm trying to see if there's anything I'm missing here. I think, I described how the remote viewing works. Yeah, it's like I just see it. It's like a movie in my mind. I see it. It's a clear movie. And it happened in the middle of the day. So no, I wasn't dreaming or anything like that or hallucinating. So yeah, But another experience I had with remote viewing was not too long ago. Actually, it was a couple weeks ago. My sister was on her way here from school. She was coming home for Christmas break, and I could see her. And this happened during a highly spiritual experience with my twin flame. It's not appropriate for me to speak on what the experience was, but I think some of you can use your imagination. And if you have a twin flame, you know that there's certain things that you do with your twin flame that causes your senses to heighten. I'm trying to see how to describe this without telling too much of my personal business. Oh my God, because I'm kind of funny about that sort of thing. Like, I know we're all adults and sex is an adult thing, but like, it's, anyway, I'm more private when it comes to stuff like that. But yeah, so basically, well, first of all, it was crazy because me and my twin flame were spending time together, and the room seemed more bright than it usually was. And I remember he said, like, it looks like heaven in here. And it really did. It was like our vibration was extremely high that day for some reason. And when we looked in the mirror, like, I could see like the gold like coming out of our skin. Like, our skin looked really glowy and golden. And it was like our frequency was just sky high. And I started seeing his aura, like his green aura. I started seeing it. I was like, what the hell? Like, because I don't, like I said, these things just kind of happen. So I started seeing his aura. It was like this lime green, like this bright green color, his aura. And then randomly it switched and I started seeing my sister. So she was on her way in a car on her way to me, and I saw her sitting in the car on her way to me. And I saw her wearing a blue sweater, which when she showed up, she was wearing that sweater. So that confirms. And I saw her aura was like a very bright blue color. It was beautiful. My sister has the best aura ever, but I already knew that without even seeing it. I knew. But yeah, for those of you wondering what color my aura is, it's purple, and it has gold, like it has flecks of gold in it, but it's purple. But yeah, so yeah, I remote viewed my sister on her way to me. I saw the blue. It was amazing. And my twin flame was right there when it was happening. And I was like, I see my sister. And he was like, right now? You can see her right now? You're remote viewing? I'm like, yes, I'm remote viewing right now. And he was like in awe. So yeah, that's what happened with remote viewing. I don't have any interest in remote viewing intentionally, because I feel like I'm just too nosy. Like, I feel like I would want to spy on people. Like, my curiosity would get the best of me, and I just feel like God would not be able to trust me with that gift, because I would just use it to spy. I wouldn't use it to tell anyone's business, but like, I'm a Pisces moon, so I'm an escapist by nature. So I would probably use it to just remote view as a way to like escape my own life and just watch other people's lives. So, you know, I would never get anything done. So yeah, I think that that's why I don't have the ability to. And plus, I feel like there is a certain level of karma that you create by doing stuff like that, because I don't want anybody remote viewing me and watching me, you know, even if they're not going to tell anyone, I still don't want them doing that, you know. So maybe, you know, I can't do it purposely, because, you know, God's protecting me from creating that type of karma for myself. But anyway, so yeah, that's pretty much all with the astral plane and with remote viewing. When it comes to these types of spiritual experiences or spiritual gifts, I really do think that human beings have the ability to do these things. I really do. But I think that, well, let me back up. I think that all human beings have the ability to have some sort of psychic gifts or intuitive gifts. I think that it just comes with the nature of being human. I think that humans have, you know, a higher consciousness that they can tap into. I did read one time something that stuck with me, where someone said, you know, human beings, they're half angel and half beast, you know. So we have our lower nature, our lower animalistic nature, but then we also have the higher consciousness that we can tap into, angel versus beast. So yeah, I think that all human beings have the ability to tap into it, but some are cut off from it. And some maybe are not meant to access it in a specific lifetime, and some just are not sensitive enough to access it, because I have noticed that the more sensitive you are, it seems like the more you can be in tune with those gifts. So yeah, yeah, those are my experiences. I'm trying to think of if there's anything else I'd like to say. No, I think that's it. So I hope that this was interesting and maybe a little bit informative. If you want to see more videos like this, let me know. They're really quick and easy for me to make, so I can just, you know, film them on my phone and just upload them. So yeah, I have no problem making them. If you ordered a personal reading, I'm still getting those out. I know I got a lot of orders last week. So I think I've finished up the batch from last month, and now I'm working on the ones I've gotten in the last week. But yeah, just hold tight, please. Thank you for your patience. I'm still powering through these readings. My readings are much more in depth now because certain experiences have happened to me that have made me more sensitive. I didn't know that was possible, but certain experiences have happened that have made me more sensitive, and now I channel messages more in depth, so my readings actually take longer now. Like, I noticed that readings that used to be like 30 minutes now, suddenly they're like an hour long. So I do have to like set like a timer or something so that I can get these readings out in time, because my intuition now is so strong. The readings just keep going on and on and on and on, and then next thing you know, I'm behind schedule. So yeah. So thank you for your patience, like I said, with the personal readings. If you want to book a reading with me, I'll leave the link to that in the description box down below. Thank you guys so much for watching this video, and I will see you in my next one. My next videos, they're going to be individual zodiac signs for 2020, like what you can expect for each sign in 2020, things to avoid and things like that. So I probably won't be doing element readings. Instead, I'll be doing individual zodiac readings but just for this month. For next month, I'm going back to element readings. All right, so yeah, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in my next video.